Hello again. Sorry, excuse me. Today, the footage is slightly poorly angled footage of working on the dividers for an SKB case to carry and protect some of the new lighting that we have picked up for my daughter's wedding. So we have some Freedom Par Tri-6 lights, which are apparently discontinued now because they've come out with the new T6 lights. And when I ordered them, they look pretty much the same, and I'll get you a photo here in a little bit to show you that, but they're just a lot smaller. So I ordered them and didn't think anything of their size, and then the box that they were delivered in, I kept looking at thinking, that's an awfully small box. Yeah, it turns out that they are notably smaller. I mean, like a third, maybe less of the size of the originals. So the case that I bought thinking I was buying the originals is not designed for these smaller ones. So what I've done is taken the dividers, and I'm using the table saw, coincidentally at its highest setting, happened to be just enough that I could slide the grooves together to fit the pieces. So I took there's some longer pieces and some shorter pieces, and I took them and taped them all together. And for safety and to keep my fingers away from the blade as much as possible, but allowing needing to keep them from bending, because they're covered in carpet, and that doesn't exactly allow you to really get them firm. So every time I hit it with the table saw, they would bend and flex just a little bit. So I was using just a piece of scrap wood to extend the miter gauge all the way to the edge of the blade. And so you can see here I'm just checking to make sure my measurements are actually correct before I continue on and finish things out. I actually need to go back and add another notch, I think, because I didn't like the way they were going to line up, and so I thought I would try positioning it differently and using some of the dividers as equipment storage, but I've actually since changed my mind on that and would rather eventually get some more of these little lights, so I can actually fit 12 of them in one case instead of 6 of them in the same same space as they were with the originals. So I went and worked on that, and then I came out the next night and needed to put some spacers in the bottom of the case, because the lights not only are shorter depth and width, they're shorter height-wise. So I didn't want to have them with inability to bounce, up and down as the case is on its side or as they're traveling around. So I figured I cut 2 blocks of styrofoam out of the styrofoam that they came in, and that worked out to be the thickness that they needed. But cutting styrofoam with a regular knife is an impossibility, and I do have to apologize. Like I said, this is slightly poorly angled. I didn't realize how angled it was. I thought the camera actually could see the deck where I was working, but you get a easy enough idea of what I'm actually doing. So see, I'm marking these to know exactly where to cut, and then I've got an old kitchen knife that I don't actually care about, and I was heating it and cutting it, and it works like, literally like a heated knife through butter, or just a regular knife through softened butter, whatever, however you want to look at that. Heating the knife worked amazingly well. So I used the boxes that they came in to help fuel the fire, along with a bunch of scrap wood. And then I started out heating it up at the top like that, and it ended up not being a good way to do it, because to get the knife hot enough, I had to keep my hand closer to the flame than I wanted. And so then I tried putting it down in the vent hole at the bottom, and that actually worked quite well. So I'd leave it in there for a few seconds and then get it hot. And I ended up, since that was working as well as it was, I'd stick it in until it was literally red hot, which you'll see here. That's what I'm doing now. And then I could make a bunch of cuts before it cooled off. And see, there we go, making just a whole bunch of slices through the... And now it's cooled off, and you can see it kind of slowed down a little bit. So the goal is to just use these all as filler space, packing material, basically. Someday maybe I will find a differently sized SKB case, or a different case. The advantage that this particular case has is that it's waterproof, it locks, it can actually be locked with an actual padlock if I ever needed to. They're very good, sturdy cases. SKB has been around for a long time. But at this point I'm pretty much done, so I'm going to be just burning the rest of the boxes and stuff, so I'll get you some pictures. But one of the advantages that I have working from home is that I get to view all of the wildlife on our property. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little wild rabbit. Can you see it? It's right there, right in the center of the picture. I took this picture with my phone. The camera is zoomed in all the way, and I could, knowing where it is, I can see it. But if I didn't know where it is, I wouldn't necessarily be able to see that it's there. So I actually pulled out one of my rifles that has a decent scope on it, and I took the bolt and opened it, not trying to shoot the rabbit other than with the camera. But now you can see that in that exact same spot, here's that little rabbit. I bet it's probably full grown. I don't know if it's actually a pygmy rabbit or if it's just a small cottontail. We do have pygmies in this area. Apparently they're illegal to hunt. So who knows? But anyway, that was a fun little morning break. So here we'll show you the size comparison between the two. So you can see the T6 is on the left and the Tri6 is on the right. And the surprising thing is they actually have a fairly similar lighting output, although the T6 comes with a diffuser gel cover thing that you can put on, take off if you want. So it widens the spread up the wall a little bit better. But they last about the same amount of time, and they have about the same amount of brightness. So that's some pretty impressive improvements on Chauvet's part. I've loved having the Tri-6s, so the T6s will be a nice addition, and the best part is that the programming for them is the same, so I don't have to do anything different for that. But here's the original case that this was actually purchased as a package, and it was the 6 lights, the power cords obviously, and then the case itself, and they fit quite nicely in there. They've got a little bit of space around the outside edges for the cords and whatever. That's what I thought I was buying. And here's the way they fit now with the adjusted dividers. And so you can see that I left one of the original dividers where it came, and that worked out well to store some of those pieces, but I've since decided, like I said earlier, that I'm not going to keep them this way. I'm going to actually build a panel where those the DMX controllers and the DeFi hubs and the USB hub, things like that. All of those can be permanently mounted, so I don't have to sit and connect and disconnect those every single time we DJ. But that'll make things a little smoother, and then I can put more lights in there. But here they are sitting inside the finished case and on with just a basic light program that was chasing the different colors, so I could just test and make sure they were all working. That was a concern because 2 of them were technically used; they were demos. So I just wanted to double check and make sure they're all completely functional, which they are, which is good. So that was a fun little experiment and project to get that to work together. That'll be about it for the footage tonight. I'm just tamping down the fire at this point, and I put the board over the top just to help direct the air so that it wouldn't, as I tamped the pieces of cardboard, I wouldn't, let any loose as embers. But thank you for watching. God bless you and yours, and stay safe out there.